That's right. Okay. Can you tell me your name? No? Oh, okay then. We'll carry on with the video instead. This will be a quick video on how to make your own spirit box. I'll also include the code in a link in the description below. And it consists of just 3 parts really. The first is a TEA 5767 radio. I'll show you a link here to where to get them from. Next along I've got an ESP8266. It can be any Arduino type microcontroller, but in this case I've used the ESP8266. Here's where you can get them from. And also a 10 to 100k variable potentiometer. Very simple little things with 3 pins on them. Here's a link to those. And also some wires and a board. Now you can use a Vero board or whichever other method you want to put this thing together. You could even solder the legs to each other and put, say, that on top of there, make it all very compact. Right, let's get this thing built. Here's the schematic so you can see what I'm doing and follow along. Also, these will be the pin connections I'll be using. The first thing I've done is to plug the parts into the board here, and then that'll allow us to put the wires across. Oh, very simple and no soldering in this case. First thing is to connect the 5 volts from here to the 5 volts on this, and the ground on this to the ground on this. That's those in place, and next to connect the 2 wires, the clock and the data, to the clock and the data on the radio. There we go, that's those wires done. Very simple. And now to connect up the variable pot. And there we go with that section. That's just the left pin goes to the ground, the right pin goes to 3.3 volts, and the middle pin goes to A0. That's the analog input on the microcontroller. So yeah, all done, just 7 wires. Now at this point you can just plug headphones into this socket here for an Estes Method maybe, or if you want to have amplified audio, well, a pair of powered speakers like those, they were $5 I think, from Dollar Tree. Just plug those in instead and you'll get your volume. But we're all ready for a test. Just before we do, here's a couple of others that I've made previously. This one's got a powered speaker on it. It's a bit rougher, but it uses a simple Arduino, another microcontroller. This one here you might have seen on the Gurdon investigation or Bonnie and Clyde. This one's made out of an old computer mouse and it's very comfortable in the hand. I do like this one, quite effective. And I power these from 5 volt USB from a power bank. So, you know, multiple uses for these power banks, and one can be to run spirit boxes. Anyway, let's try this one out. I've plugged in those speakers now, and this pot here will allow you to change the speed of the scan rate from very, very fast, about milliseconds, down to about 4 seconds. So we'll plug it in and we'll see what happens. There we go, and you can hear that it's scanning pretty slowly. So I just turn the pot to the left. There we are, it's speeding up. We go right to the top. There we are, that's the quickest, and down to the slowest. And we are really slow. The aerial is not extended and really doesn't usually need it. But I'll make it go to a reasonable enough speed you usually hear on ghost hunting shows. It's something like that. And there we are, the thing is built. More or less, as he said. So, the next thing to do would be to probably move this onto a proper bit of circuit board, or indeed to just wire the wires, solder them together and make a very, very compact unit. But there we are. I hope that was, well, I hope it's going to be some fun for you if you make one. And as I say, they're only about $10, not around 90 or something, which you usually find. And it's a proper scanning radio. The code will be in the description below. Have fun.